Coming up, why educators say the teacher shortage is getting worse. We'll take a look at the biggest needs across the valley. New information on the saga regarding a former wedding photographer, plus the latest on the investigation into the death of Gabby Petito. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, take a look at this. 2 years ago today, this was the scene in Devil's Lake. They were hammered with a lot of snow. Now, this isn't what it looks like for us, but Hutch tells us it's not too far away. He joins us with a look at the forecast. Hutch.
Stacy, yeah, your Storm Team Skycam network keeping our eyes on the skies. Our sister station at KOTA, Rapid City, South Dakota. And that is not rain. That is very white, thick, heavy snow that's falling out there. Slowed down just a little bit in town because there's some warmer air punching back into the west. But I got to tell you, things are changing. Let's take a look at that radar as we head into the evening hours. And I want to point out first and foremost that snow that you're seeing in the Rapid City area, continuing in the Black Hills, rain just off to the east of that. It's snowing up near the oil patch as well. Now, take a gander at this. Here is where we still have a patch of potentially clear skies. It's clouding up in Grand Forks, clouding up in Devil's Lake, but you have a chance at seeing those northern lights once again, as they were glorious last night across much of the area, but it's going to be limited by timing of those northern lights. There's a decent chance of them once again tonight for the second straight night. So if you happen to be traveling out in northern Minnesota, take a look. Rain developing from Strasburg in towards the Wishick, Ashley area and on up towards Jamestown right now. By morning, many of us will see some showers of rain, but the 30s stay way out to the west. Look at that ridiculousness in Casper, Wyoming. Casper, the friendly ghost, is getting unfriendly. It's 27 degrees there. How low will we go? We'll have details on that. Talk about how much rain you have to squeegee as opposed to snow you have to shovel. Stacy, that in a minute.
I cannot believe that scene in Rapid City.
It's that time of year.
Yikes. All right, thanks, Hutch.
Yeah.
New for you tonight at 10. The need for educators is only getting worse. Valley News Team's Nashay Taylor investigates which positions have the most vacancies here in the Red River Valley.
All areas are shortages, with the exception of school administrators.
Schools in North Dakota are continuing to struggle to fill educator vacancies.
We look at positions that are unfilled, positions filled with emergency licenses, and then we come to some sort of consensus on the numbers of shortage areas.
The state issues emergency licenses to help districts fill open positions. As of today, there have been more than 100 emergency licenses issued. The educator shortage has only gotten worse within the last 5 years, and one education leader says she knows why.
First of all, I think that we are building schools, more and more schools around the state, and so we need more teachers. There are more than one teacher or often in classrooms, so it's not just one teacher for one group of students.
In our region, some districts have more of a need for certain types of positions than others. Fergus Falls has a shortage of substitute teachers, but they're not alone. West Fargo currently has more than 10 openings for subs, and Moorhead has 5 vacancies. As for Fargo Public Schools, there is a need to fill jobs in other areas like special education. They're down 5 teachers right now, but if you include special education paraeducators, that number jumps to nearly 25 openings. Pitkin says work is being done to make things better. They're focusing on promoting the practice of teaching along with addressing barriers.
Our board has looked at what are some barriers that we could possibly remove, ones that don't negate the quality of the teacher, but to provide more access for teachers.
In Fargo, Nashay Taylor, Valley News Live.
If you'd like information on what it takes to qualify to get an emergency license, visit our website and click on this story. New information since 6 tonight. The attorney for Glasser Images is answering questions raised by subcontractors, couples, and employees on what happens to those whose weddings were already shot by the company. Tim O'Keefe says they're trying to make arrangements to provide data files and video to outside photographers and videographers who can complete the processing of those files, allowing, quote, important memories to be provided to wedding couples. They'll be holding a press conference tomorrow. Stick with us here on Valley News Live for the latest. Opening statements begin in the morning in the trial of a former West Fargo teacher charged with luring a minor for sex online. Ron Thompson resigned back in February after police served a search warrant on his home and at work. Authorities say he was chatting online with a detective posing as a 14-year-old girl, sending a photo of himself. Thompson also admitted to chatting online with multiple girls under the age of 18, but denied having physical contact. The man who police say fired shots at a Fargo apartment complex has been cleared of attempted murder charges. Today, a jury found Jerome Kuhn not guilty on charges of attempted murder and theft, but he was found guilty of 4 other charges. Those charges all date back to a shooting that took place in January at the Arbors Apartments. Court documents say shots are believed to have been fired from Kuhn and another man, Oliver Ty. A woman was hit multiple times. Car chases are on the rise in North Dakota, with 72 so far this year. The North Dakota Highway Patrol has soared to new heights to combat the growing problem. The department is now using an aircraft with a specialized infrared camera for searches and rescues, traffic enforcement, and vehicle pursuits.
Law enforcement to them, I just give them directions from overhead, kind of give them a warning, maybe 100 yards out, 50 yards out. Hey, the guy's right on top of you. So look out your driver door, he's there, be careful, So it's definitely a good advantage to be overhead.
So far, the single North Dakota Highway Patrol aircraft has been used 39 times in 2021. 3 of those were for traffic enforcement. 3 postal workers are dead after being shot at a Memphis post office today. The FBI says the shooter was a postal employee and died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Postal officials are working with the FBI in that investigation. The identities of the victims and the shooter have not been released. Today in Orlando, Florida, a crane collapsed into a parking deck under construction at the Advent Health Medical Center. According to fire officials, 1 person suffered a traumatic injury and was hospitalized. 2 others were treated at the scene. According to construction crews, that crane is used to hoist sections of concrete off the ground. The Biden administration is ending mass worksite immigration arrests. The Department of Homeland Security says it will no longer conduct large sweeps that often target workers and not the employers who hire them. Instead, the agency will focus on policies that stop employers from exploiting unauthorized workers. DHS says the new practices will make workers feel safe reporting violations. The House has voted to increase the federal debt limit until December 3rd, temporarily avoiding what could have been an economic crisis. Now, Congress has less than 2 months to come up with a longer-term solution. Skylar Henry has the latest.
The House has passed a measure to temporarily raise the debt ceiling by $480 billion into early December.
The costs we've incurred on behalf of the American people must be paid.
You want to continue to take more money from working class Americans by putting in debt their kids and grandkids.
Last week, the U.S. Senate approved the measure along party lines after Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and Democrats negotiated a short-term fix. A temporary debt ceiling increase gives Democrats more time to focus on moving both that bipartisan infrastructure bill and a much larger social spending measure across the finish line. President Biden has lowered his price range on the Build Back Better Act from $3.5 trillion down to around $2 trillion.
I'm very disappointed that we're not going with the original $3.5 trillion. If there are fewer dollars to spend, there are choices to be made.
The move is meant to win over party moderates, but the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal, tweeted Tuesday, "People all across America delivered us the House, the Senate, and the White House. We should be doing everything possible in this moment to deliver for them while we still can." Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Congressional Democrats continue to push for a bipartisan long-term solution to raising the debt ceiling, while Republicans say Democrats should do so on their own, using the process of reconciliation. It's been 5 months since fire destroyed Gigi's Playhouse, a Down Syndrome Achievement Center in Fargo. Valley News Live is partnering with Gigi's to help them rebuild. Tomorrow on Valley News Live at 6, we'll have one more story on their mission, the people they serve, and how you can help. Still ahead tonight, the autopsy reveals new details into Gabby Petito's murder.
What a treat to see all of your photos of the Northern Lights as they graced the skies over the valley late last night and very early this morning. Logan, this view from north of Edgeley. Beautiful emerald green there. And hey, I recognize this ride, a cruising night for Hutch and the old hot rod out there, seeing that north of the Moorhead area. Your forecast looks a little dicier. I'll have details right after the